Okay, I think that's that's all the round robin we have time for this morning. We are moving on to our next item on the program. I believe it is the dream of every Toastmaster to become a distinguished Toastmaster, or DTM as we commonly know it. If you've ever wondered what the shortcuts are or any insider secrets, well, wonder no more. This morning, for our educational moment, we are honored to host the distinguished Toastmaster Jesse, an outstanding gentleman. You only need hear him speak to know why. Today, we are going to hear Jesse's journey to becoming distinguished Toastmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome and a round of applause to Jesse Ainebyoona for our educational moment. Jesse, you're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Juliet. I'm grateful and delighted to be with you all this morning at Kampala Sunrise. Just to confirm that my audio is okay, is clear?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Great. It's been quite a journey. And first, I must say how delighted I always am to be a part of Kampala Sunrise. You bring so much creativity, innovation to Toastmasters. And for me, attending meetings with Kampala Sunrise is always, it's like a breath of fresh air. So I'm really delighted to be with you this morning. I'm calling in from Mbarara. So for those who are not in Uganda, Mbarara would be maybe about 250 kilometers out of the capital city. I came here on a work assignment, and I'll be talking a little bit more about part of the work that I do. But I'm delighted to be joining in from out of Kampala, but also the beauty about online meetings. My journey with Toastmasters began in 2014. And I said 2014, not that that's when I joined Toastmasters, but that's when I heard about Toastmasters. My brother-in-law, who knew me, who knew what I really love, he knew that I am passionate about public speaking. He called me and said, Jesse, there is a club that you must be a part of. You need to know about this group because I think you will need it. At that time, I was quite busy, quite engaged. So I had to put aside an engagement for the benefit of attending that meeting. And I don't know whether it was just the timing. I don't know whether the timing was just not right. I don't know if it was about the meeting, but there was something that just did not click for me at that time. So I attended the meeting. I still remember there was a Toastmaster of the day, there was an accountant, there was a grammarian. I was just looking at things happening and I was wondering, what is this about? You know, so that was, I still remember because the first club in Uganda was not yet chartered. So they were still a prospective club. They were not yet chartered. So probably I would have been among those charter members. But that was the last time I attended. That was the first and the last time I attended that Toastmasters meeting. Later on, about 3 years later, this would be 2017, I had attended a leadership masterclass with a friend called Sterling Gabara. He's from Zimbabwe, but he was in Uganda. So Sterling then told me, Jesse, I would like to give you a flash, okay, a flash disk. So he said, I'm at this place, come and find me there. So I was passing by because it was on my way home. So while I come to pick this flash, he says, by the way, Jesse, there is a meeting going up. I would like you can come and attend. I asked him, what meeting is it? He said, it's about public speaking. It can empower you to develop your communication and leadership skills. Then I asked him, does it begin on time? He said, yes. Does it end on time? He said, yes. He said, oh, okay, let me come in and I see. I came and sat, and to my amazement, at 6 p.m. on the dot, the meeting began. Now, for me, this was new because I had never seen something like this. I had not seen a meeting that begins on time. So I was attracted by that. And then the meeting went on, quite exciting. It did not at all remind me of the experience I had had as earlier. Later on in the meeting, like always is the case, they did a round of impromptu speeches and they invited me to speak to speak on one of the topics. At the end of the meeting, they gave the award for best table topic speaker, and they called out my name, Jesse Ainebyoona. Wow, that really got me. First of all, I enjoyed the meeting. Secondly, this recognition came unexpected, and I felt like this is something I would like to be a part of. So I just kept attending the meetings, and then they asked me, now that you're attending, why don't you make a payment and you become a member? So I began to make payments in installments, and that's how I joined Bokoto Toastmasters Club at a time when it was not yet chartered. So officially, my journey with Toastmasters began in June 2017, but it was January 2018 when my club chartered, and that's when I became a charter member of Bokoto Toastmasters. I must say, for me, my journey with Toastmasters has been askew. It has not been a straight kind of thing. It has always been one step at a time, one step at a time. I remember when I joined the club was new. So they asked me to take up a leadership position. I was hesitant to taking up a position because I felt I already had so many engagements. At that time, we had just got our firstborn daughter. So life was quite busy, and I felt I cannot add another commitment to my already busy schedule, trying to make things work out in terms of my work and now a new family, young baby coming up. I said, no, I wouldn't be open to taking up leadership. I'm happy to be a member, but not to be a leader. Then they said, okay, fine. Can you just assist the sergeant at arms? So in a sense, I became an assistant sergeant at arms. Now, if you have been in Toastmasters, you know that that position does not exist. Well, I served in that position for about 3 months, and then the vice president membership at that time resigned. So the position became vacant. And then they asked me, Jesse, we know that you're not interested in being a leader, but can you just assist in the area of membership? I said, it's fine. So I assisted as vice president membership. And the numbers began to grow. The president at that time was going to be handing over. So I still remember I was driving. She called me and said, Jesse, I'm looking for someone to take over as club president, and I think you are the person that I would like to hand over to. I said, wow, okay. I took it up as well. So I became club president. That was 2018, 2019. Now, as we came to the end of 2019, of course, I handed over. And my time as club president was quite a good and successful one, I must say, because I plugged myself into Toastmasters. I must say one of the things that occurred for me was I began to develop a passion for Toastmasters. First, I loved the club mission. You know, we provide a supportive and positive learning environment in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Many times I also ask myself how I managed to memorize that, but I connected with everything about Toastmasters. I remember it is at that time that Pathways was being rolled out. And I challenged myself that as a club president, as a leader, I need to be leading from the front. So I decided I'm going to challenge myself to finish a path. I'm going to be the first person to finish a path in my club. And that's what I challenged myself to do. So my journey has been one of constantly trying new things and challenging myself. I remember the first time I challenged myself was when I had just joined Toastmasters. In fact, our club had not yet even chartered. Then there was a club contest. It was called Project November because we had one club in Uganda at the time. I threw myself in the deep end and I said, I'm going to participate as a contestant in the international speech contest. I went and I delivered a speech called There is no free lunch. There is no free lunch. I prepared so well, delivered that speech, and I remember we were 9. So having prepared so well and delivered it really excellently, the second round would only have 3 people. So I was among the 3 that made it to the next round. So when we go to the next round, the winner was going to be based on one thing, table topics. So it so happened that first round was international speech, and then the winner was going to be judged based on their performance in the table topics contest. And I remember participating in the table topics. This was way back in 2017. And after the table topics, I remember the topic that they gave us was deceit. So when I did that speech, When they came to award the final winners, they said in number 3 position, we have Jesse Ainebyoona. Okay. I don't know if you have participated in the speech contest, but for me, I felt like I had not come for number 3 position. I felt I had come to be number 1. And I went back with a very heavy heart and asked myself, Jesse, I don't think I want to try this again. And I really always feel for every contestant. I don't think I want to try this ever again. But about 1 week later, as I was seated all by myself, just recounting the whole experience, I reminded myself that, Jesse, I think the issue is not about being the best. It is about doing your best. That became a new philosophy for me in Toastmasters. Ever since that day, I was delivered from the urge of competition. I began to compete with myself. Because of that, I began to challenge myself. Every time I went to a speech contest, it was not about winning. It was about competing with myself. Did I do my best? Yes. Let the judges make their decision. But as for me and myself, I will not leave that stage. I will only leave that stage knowing that I gave my very best. And all through my journey in Toastmasters, every speech contest I've participated in, those that I have won, those that I have not, my encouragement has always been, do your best and leave the rest on the stage. Let the judges decide who will be the best. But as for me, I will always do my best. So my apologies. I will just go ahead and wrap it up quickly in the interest of time. Great. So a few things that I think I was mentioning, that some of these things I did not know what I was doing. All I knew is that I'm just doing my best. I'm serving my club. I'm leading by example. I'm finishing up my path. And then I did not really know that all these were requirements for distinguished Toastmaster. But the one thing that I still recall, maybe just 2 things. One is when we went online, when COVID happened and all clubs began to meet online, I still remember that there was this initial resistance within me, just like some people did. Some people felt, okay, let's wait for this to normalize and then we meet physically. But I just challenged myself. I said, what about you just try giving a speech online and see how this goes? I pushed myself in that space and I delivered 1 speech. I felt uncomfortable. I felt it was awkward, but I said, let me try it again. I did it again. And then the next thing I knew, I was doing speeches in Rwanda, in Southern Africa, in Kenya, in clubs, different clubs. I remember sometimes I would do about 2 speeches in a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, all because they were online. Within about 3 months, I had finished the second path. So think about this now. I have served as a club president. I have finished my 2 paths. I have literally done everything. The only thing I had not yet done was serving as a district leader, because I had been asked, serve as an area director. And let me tell you, I said no, because I didn't think I was ready for that moment. I remember having heated debates with the district leaders at that time, because they really felt that the enthusiasm I had brought in my club, the district needed to benefit. I said, look, I am not ready to make a commitment that I know I cannot keep. So for now, no. Then my mentor, Connie Shemererwe, said, okay, Jesse, you cannot serve as a district officer, but at least we have a club that is struggling, called Miyenga. We would like you to assist the club as a coach. I said, I think that I can do. I also did not know that serving as a club coach is an alternative for district leader requirement, falling in place at the same time. So I went in and coached Miyenga and we got the numbers up. The club became distinguished and it was a success. That's how I met the requirement for distinguished Toastmaster. And that's how I became the first Pathways DTM in District 114. So for me, like I said earlier, it was not really going out for it. It just came because I was doing what I had to do at every step that I was at. In closing, I just want to share 3 things that I would say I have taken away from coming to DTM. 1, I think the critical point for me was accepting change when we went online. I know a number of Toastmasters that told me, Jesse, I don't think I can do a Toastmaster speech online. They told me, and I said, I understand. But I just challenged myself. I said, look, this is the new reality. Why not embrace it? Why not give yourself a try? Bet on yourself and give it a try. I did that and it worked out perfectly. In fact, for me, it also prepared me because then I do trainings and corporate organizational trainings. So most of them were online. So in a sense, doing speeches online with Toastmasters prepared me for the new mode of work because everything moved online. So for me, one thing that I have learned on my own journey to DTM, accept change. When change happens, the default response to change is resistance. But give yourself a trial and give it a shot. Try it. You never know. It might work for you like it did for me. So number one, accept change. Number two, find your why. Find your why. I always say that Toastmasters is like a buffet. You go and look for what you want. For me, different people have different motivations. Some people, it is participating in speech contests. I don't think that is really for me. Maybe, but for now, that is not the thing. For me, my thing has always been about challenging myself. That's why when I joined the club, I threw myself in the deep end and I said, let me participate in the contest. I have just kept on challenging myself. When pathways came, I said, let me be the first person in my club to finish a path. Challenge yourself. Find your why. Find your why. What is my why may not be your why, but at the end of the day, find it. For others, it is leadership, serving as a club leader, and then serving as a district leader, and then serving at higher levels in the organization. Find your why. For others, it is networking, and it is okay. Find your why. Discover why you're here and pursue it with unwavering determination and pursue it with persistence. So find your why. Find what it is that you're here, because if you don't find your why, it will be a matter of time. You will lose a sense of purpose and you will not renew your membership, because then why are you here? So find your why. And lastly, for me, it has been one thing, that what you get on the way to your goal is not as important as who you become. I think for me, more than this DTM recognition, it is the gesture that I have become. I have become a more time-conscious person. I have become a more self-aware leader. I have become a better person in terms of networking. You know, earlier on, I shared with you that right now I'm in Barara, about 250 kilometers out of Kampala. I'm doing a training for an organization, and this training came through a Toastmaster. A Toastmaster, I mentored her in Toastmasters. And then when she was looking for someone to train the organization, she said, yes, I think you would be the best person to come and serve our team. So networking, you know, I have become a better person. People normally say that in Toastmasters, you don't get paid money, but why it is true, I am one person who can tell you honestly that I think I have made money out of Toastmasters. Why? Two ways. One, I have skilled myself, but secondly, I have built a social capital that has given me opportunities to earn the money that I want. So I want to say that what you get on your way, becoming a DTM is not the most important thing. But who you become on your way to DTM is the most important thing. You become a better leader, a better communicator, a better speaker. The world out there will identify you, notice you, reward you, and recognize you for the investment that you have made in yourself. So ladies and gentlemen, go forth, go for DTM, achieve it. And most importantly, it is not the pin that matters. It is not the recognition that matters. It is not the plaque that matters. It is who you become on your way to becoming a distinguished Toastmaster that will really make the difference. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the morning.
Wow. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Jesse Ainebyoona. Find your why. And it is not what you find, it is who you become on the journey. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests, you have heard it from the horse's mouth. I'm sure Jesse is available for any further questions. We don't have time for questions and answers, but Jesse, I think you can be available for members if they want to reach out and get more clarification from you. Yes.
Absolutely.
I wanted to get just a quick one or two people to give us their feedback. They're not feedback per se, but just one nugget that we have taken out of this meeting today, just one, in relation to our educational moment. What are we going to do different? and how are we going to enjoy our journey to becoming DTM. I was challenged by Jesse's story, especially when he became it was not because he wanted to. Someone once told me that reluctant leaders are usually the best. People who get to be pushed to do something, eventually they end up being the very, very best at that. Thank you so much, Jesse. Yes, I see Florence Katono has her hand up. Florence, do you want to share? Yes. Florence, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Good morning. I have a husky voice this morning because I have a cold, but I hope you can hear me. I joined Toastmasters.
A little louder, Florence. We hardly hear.
I joined Toastmasters about the same time. I think before Jesse. Yeah, Jesse told me in the club, and I'm so inspired and challenged. Yeah, that now he's a distinguished Toastmaster. What I have taken away from his speech, just like him, the status of the family can really determine how much you can take home. So because my family is now young again, I had decided to pull out of Toastmasters. But I'm now back, being that I can now attend a club in the morning, for which the day is can then balance my work time between work, family, and the things that I'm passionate about, like Toastmasters and God. I take away from his speech is finding your why. And for me, I think this is what has pushed many people. I'm happy to see that he has grown. And like many other Toastmasters have also grown to the level of Toastmasters. I've seen that others are also taking up leadership positions at the regional level. And I'm really happy with how far we have come. Thank you for letting me into your club, and thank you so much, Alex, for inviting me to this.
Thank you, Florence.
Back to you.
I see in the chat most people, yes, most people in the chat are saying, find your why, find your why. Yeah, let's go out and find our why. If your why has been askew, you have time to self-introspect and get back on track. Thank you so much. Yes, our next item on the program is our functional reports. And I'd like to invite Agnes first to give us her grammarian encounter report, and then Ephraim will come thereafter. Agnes.
Thank you, Toastmaster